If your home is getting inspected for Section 8 and the word LEED comes up, it's a big deal. Lead-based paint isn't just another line item on the inspection checklist. It's one of the most serious issues that can stop your unit from passing, delay your move-in, or even put your family's health at risk. So today we're breaking down what lead-based paint really means during a Section 8 inspection, when it becomes a problem, and what both tenants and landlords need to do about it. First, let's start with the basics. Lead-based paint was banned for residential use back in 1978. Before that, it was used almost everywhere: walls, doors, windows, trim, even floors. It was durable but also toxic. When lead paint starts to chip or peel, it releases dust and particles that can poison anyone who breathes it in, especially young children. That's why HUD takes it so seriously. During a Section 8 inspection, if the property was built before 1978, inspectors are trained to look for any signs of deteriorating paint: peeling, cracking, flaking, or chalking. Even a small area of damaged paint can trigger a fail. And if the home has kids under 6 or a pregnant woman living there, the rules get even stricter. Now, here's where people often get confused. If you see lead-based paint in good condition, that's not an automatic failure. The problem is only when the paint is deteriorating or damaged. HUD's main goal is to make sure that no one is being exposed to lead dust or flakes that could be ingested or inhaled. So, if the paint is intact and sealed properly, your inspection can still pass. But let's talk about what happens if your inspector does find a lead hazard. The property fails the inspection until the hazard is fixed. The landlord then has to bring in certified professionals, people who are licensed in lead-safe work practices, to remove or stabilize the paint safely. This isn't something that can be handled with a quick coat of paint. Regular sanding or scraping can actually make the situation worse by spreading lead dust. Once the repairs are made, the housing authority will usually require a clearance test. That's when an independent lead professional takes dust samples from the home and sends them to a lab to confirm that the area is safe. Only when that test comes back clear will the unit pass inspection and become eligible. It's important to understand that these steps are for your safety. Lead poisoning doesn't always show symptoms right away, but it can cause lasting issues, especially in children, like learning problems, developmental delays, and even nervous system damage. For landlords, this is one of those moments where doing things right the first time matters. If your property was built before 1978, you should assume lead paint might be present and handle it before the inspection. Keep all documentation from any previous testing or abatement work. That paperwork can save you time if questions come up later. Tenants should also know that landlords are legally required to give you a lead-based paint disclosure before you move in. It's a form that explains whether the property has been tested and if any hazards are known. If your landlord skips this step, that's a violation of federal law. Another thing worth knowing: lead hazards aren't limited to paint. Old windows and doors that rub together can grind painted surfaces and create fine dust. That's why inspectors often check windowsills, baseboards, and door frames closely. They're looking for areas where friction could release lead particles into the air. Now, what if you're already living in a Section 8 home and your child tests positive for lead exposure? That's an emergency situation. You should contact your local housing authority immediately. They'll typically send an inspector to your unit within a few days to check for hazards. If lead is found, the landlord will be ordered to fix it quickly, or the housing authority can stop paying rent until it's resolved. At the end of the day, this isn't about passing or failing an inspection. It's about keeping people safe. Lead-based paint is one of the few issues that can literally affect your health for life, and HUD treats it that way for good reason. So if you're a landlord, take it seriously before your inspection. And if you're a tenant, don't be afraid to ask questions. Look at painted surfaces. Check the windows and baseboards. Make sure your home isn't just affordable. It's healthy. Because at the end of the day, housing isn't just about having a roof over your head. It's about having a safe place to call home.